Hi, I'm Mayank Chandla, founder and CEO of Insight Plum. Insight Plum is a company I started back in London in 2020 to address the gaps in the procurement industry. Let me explain to you what these gaps are and what we are doing to address them. Let me start with explaining the global ecosystem of procurement tech providers. So we've got about 5,000 providers in the procurement tech space worldwide. Now only 6 of them actually make up the top 50%. The other make up the rest 50%. The global B2B e-commerce is about 12 trillion today, going to be 25 trillion by 2028. Now, if you look at the current providers, the large providers only address the large enterprise. That leaves the 66% of the market, which is SME, unaddressed, underserved. The large consulting providers, the likes of IBM, Accenture and others, they also primarily cater to large enterprise. And they are primarily consulting on these top 6 or 7 softwares. So what we have is a gap where you don't have the right new emerging technology being easily accessible to companies of all size, whether it's large enterprise, small or medium enterprise. So what we're doing is providing a platform to actually change this. We are, as a company, partnered with 25 of the top 100 procurement softwares in the world, and that is helping us push the technology and the digital transformation agenda to a much wider array of companies, both large, small and medium. Large enterprise is looking for innovation. You don't get that innovation easily because the software that they are working with has a large install base. They have a long product roadmap. So the innovation, the speed of innovation is really slow. Let's talk about Middle East as a market. This gap in the industry is even more evident in the Middle East. Why? Because Middle East in the global context is 96% SME market. So that's why the large enterprise software consulting firms are definitely not the solution for this market. That's why what we did is 2021 we moved our global headquarters from London to Dubai so that we can actually make Dubai as our center of innovation and connect all the technology partners from around the world and bring them to Dubai, where the 96% of the market is SME. Yeah, so let me tell you about some of the technology vendors out of the top 100 that we partner with and how they're really useful. So we got partners like Ziva, which is really disruptive in the P2P space, as well as in sourcing and automating a lot of sourcing, and actually partner with us in having the marketplaces for commodities. Then we've got Archlet, which is a company out of Switzerland, and they are for mature customers who want to improve their sourcing process and who are looking for automation in their sourcing process. Then we've got Penny. It's a Saudi Arabia based company that really focuses on digitizing P2P and really helps in companies with, let's say, spend under 500 million to really digitize and have a quick way of having codes and going from that to making their whole process of source to pay digital, but primarily suited for small and medium enterprise. Then we've got other technology firms that we partner with, like Leverdata in the US. Leverdata is really looking at automating supply chain from a sourcing point of view, providing insights into pricing, into logistics. So that's another example. We've got DeepStream out of UK. DeepStream are a really simple technology that helps to streamline RFQ process, really simplify the process, and to give you an idea of savings, you are saving a lot on efficiency. You are able to do 3 times the addressable spend, more than 3 times what you previously did without it. You're getting an ROI of more than 70 to 100x in terms of what you invest and how much savings you realize. Then you've got, what happens is, if you are a company that is looking at addressing spend for the first time, you are getting almost double-digit saving from unaddressed spend. Then if you look at even address spend, with this kind of technology in RFX space, you're able to get 2 to 3% on previously negotiated spend. So yeah, we've got a huge potential with all the emerging tech partners we're bringing in. And the biggest value is you're looking at break even or return on investment starting in few days, maximum to a month. Let's look at the maturity of the companies right now in procurement space. Firstly, they are digitizing. And if 10 years back you digitized, you were seen as a really mature organization. Now being digital is just a foundation, a prerequisite to being cognitive and improving buying experiences. If you look at what all companies are doing in procurement, they're trying to save money. So they're trying to find the right suppliers. Then they're trying to source from those suppliers and they're trying to establish their contracts. Ultimately, they're trying to set up some catalogs and then buy off those catalogs or those contracts, and they need to find a way to set up those suppliers, verify their banks and payments, and ultimately pay those suppliers. What we as Insight Plum are doing is basically moving towards what is called as the commodity marketplaces, because we truly believe commodity marketplaces is really where the future is. So what I believe is over time, the sourcing is simply going to go away as a function and negotiation will be really limited. I mean, the only reason there's negotiation is because there's leverage between buyer and supplier. That's going to go away with these marketplaces, as there will be little gap between what they know versus what the suppliers know. So these commodity marketplaces is essentially a way in which if you take any commodity at a time, you will find the right set of suppliers for it, suppliers that are already providing services or goods in a sustainable way. So they're likely to be adopted by more and more customers, and our platform will allow for such suppliers to get more market share and for buyers to find such suppliers, and ultimately the demand and supply are going to control the pricing. Now, with such sort of commodity marketplace buying, you also will not need to set up your own contracts. The contracts would be driven by the local legislation in which this platform is operating, in which platform you're buying, in which jurisdiction you're selling these goods and services. Now, in procurement, you only learn skills over time and you learn skills on the job. What we have is a scenario where today most of the large enterprise have software installed from the large top 6 vendors. So the skills that people have are limited to those top 6 vendors. Now, as the ecosystem of providers is changing, there's also a need to upskill into newer technologies. So that's what Insight Plum does. We have a training vertical which is all about upskilling people in newer tech and making that upskill talent available to companies of all size to consult and help them transform using newer technology. Effectively, people who work for us are really coming from Big Four and other companies because they want to learn newer tech and have experience in implementing newer tech. And actually, this is what's going to give them a more enduring career compared to what they have today. Because as the technology gets obsolete, their skills will get obsolete and they will also become obsolete unless they upskill themselves in newer tech, newer operating models, and so on. So, to give you another use case here, even millennials, their skills today become obsolete within 3 to 4 years of them acquiring those skills. So these skills don't last a long time either. Today, with more focus on digitization of procurement and on building sustainable supply chain and on sustainability at large to get to net zero, you're looking at over 1.3 million unfilled jobs in procurement in the next couple of years. So this gap is widening. We're doing our bit to bridge this gap by upskilling people in newer tech and newer operating models, new ways of working. Also look at it another way. You got by 2030, almost 80% of the workforce is going to be freelance. People are moving from 5 days work to 4 days. People are after COVID really in a mode of self-discovery and self-realization, and they're giving a different focus to work now. They're seeing it in a different lens altogether. With all this conventional ways of recruiting people and training them and paying them or retaining them is definitely not working. So again, we're looking at providing solutions in this space, like having a talent marketplace, which is a marketplace for all providers in the education space who offer the right skill set, and for people to have a way to assess their skills and then take up the relevant courses so they go up the leaderboard in their area and they're able to find relevant jobs, and we have them placed for those relevant jobs. So again, it's like a marketplace connecting the skill talent with the customers who are needing the skill talent on whatever basis, temporary or permanent or interim or so on. Now let's talk about something else as well. Now, if you ask me about how are we helping the community? So we are basically upskilling people. So we offer them a free skill assessment. Absolutely everybody, especially if you look at women. Women have to take a natural break for maternity or taking care of family. So they have breaks in their careers. So we are looking at upskilling women. We're looking at going to tier 2 cities in countries like India, Pakistan, whole of Africa, and helping people upskill into newer tech. Once they upskill into newer tech or newer operating models, they can get employed, and that is a real empowerment for them. So we want to do our bit to help people upskill and to elevate communities worldwide. Let me tell you about Insight Plum Masterclass. This is a hybrid conference where you learn about procurement domain, you learn about sustainability, you learn about artificial intelligence, and you learn about what is art of possible with digital procurement. Insight Plum Masterclass is running like a world tour around the world. So it is coming in a city near you. Do watch out and do enroll in the class. You will get exposure to our latest partners in emerging tech. You will hear about best practices in procurement. You will hear about journeys of sustainable digital transformation. You will hear about careers. You will hear about women empowerment. And you will network with the community of procurement, tech, sustainability people. So see you at Insight Plum Masterclass soon. Sustainability is for everyone, and it is for action now. We all need to save the planet. We all need to find ways to be net zero in our production, in our sourcing, in our operations. Even at the country level, everyone has a net zero target by 2050. So how do we incorporate this into the core strategy of the organization? This is what we help companies with. So what we're talking about here is, firstly, understand what is the legislation, what are the policies that exist in which the company operates. Then understand what is their corporate strategy. So let's understand, starting with what is the current impact of any company's action, their operations, their production, their sourcing. What is it that they're doing? So talking about this, let's start with firstly identifying the carbon footprint of current activity, the consumption of energy. Are they using energy that is clean, or are they using energy that is from fossil fuels, as an example? So we understand the current impact, try to set the goals, and then we go from that to executing a strategy to bring about that change in terms of climate action, bring about the change in terms of the transition to clean energy, and also the strategy to go from the current carbon footprint to measuring that footprint and getting to execute a strategy for getting to net zero. Now, when it comes to supply chain side of things, again, to understand the impact, you need to understand what is the current carbon footprint of your entire supply chain and how do you start to replace that to be a sustainable supply chain, and ultimately for a supply chain to also have a net zero carbon footprint. So this is what we're trying to bring together in terms of sustainability transformation. If you're asking us about our growth plans, so yes, we're trying to grow around the world. We are set up in London to address the UK market. We're set up in Estonia, Slovakia to help us with the market across Europe. We are set up in America to help us with the North America market. We have plans to expand to South America with focus on Mexico, Brazil. We are already also going to go live in Australia sometime towards the end of this year. And then, of course, India is very strategic for us because India offers us a base for a lot of skill talent or potential to upskill talent and also for a lot of services. Then, where else are we? We're, of course, headquartered in Dubai and to help the Middle East Africa market. And that's about it. Yeah, so feel free to get in touch with us. We'll give you a free procurement maturity assessment, and that will help you kickstart your transformation journey, as we'll be able to tell you what's the right transformation roadmap for you and then help you execute that transformation roadmap and also bring in the right skills for the talent transformation needed to actually make this a sustainable transformation project. All right, I'd like to end it here for today, but keep chatting and follow us on LinkedIn and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and all other social media channels. Thank you and bye-bye.